What's going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker, bringing you guys episode number 3 of what's the best bottled and bond bourbon and whiskey. Let's get right on into it. Alrighty, guys. So for the final episode before the finals, we have our 3 big dogs on the table. We have 1792 bottled in bond. We have Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond. And last but not least, we have the E.H. Taylor bottled in bond. We have all of them poured. You guys know what the deal is. Let's get to spinning. All right. In no particular order. And one more for good measure. You guys know what the deal is. Left to right, then right to left. Let's start here on our left and get into the nose. Cherry, a little bit of oak, there's a slight vanilla, a little bit of a burn on the nose. Again, a little bit of a maple almost as well. Slight oranginess per se. Smells really good though. A little char almost it smells like too. Trying to find a little bit more. Let's get into the palate. Lots of vanilla, a little bit of caramel, like a warm chocolate, almost with a little bit of toffee. I'm finding a little bit of like this corn thing going on, like almost like a burnt popcorn. Tastes really good. It's a little light on the palate, and then it tapers off. There's really not a long finish on it, but the finish isn't bad. There's a lot of vanilla, there's a little bit of cherry, and a little bit of burn. Let's move on to glass number 2. Oh, wow. A little bit of like flat soda. Turns into almost like a little bit of coconut minty in there a little bit. There's a lot of cherry. This has a hotter nose. This is interesting smelling. There's a little strawberry in there too. Lots of vanilla. Almost a little peach too. Very stone fruity. Maybe a little plum. Dark fruits in there now. Thin oakiness that comes through on the tail end of the nose. Let's get into the palate. Lots of sweetness that come through on that. There's no burn really. The finish is still going. There's a lot of vanilla, confectioner's sugar. Tastes like a little bit of birthday cake. Tastes like a little bit of birthday cake with a little bit of like a maple syrup. Almost like a peach marmalade in a way too. Wow, that's really good. There's a little oakiness that goes on there. Burn isn't heavy. But then there's also that beautiful mapleness that pops through with a lot of sweetness. Let's move on to glass number 3. A lot of chocolate. A little bit of burn on the nose as well. Sweetness overload there. A little bit of, ooh, wow. That is maple syrup. There's a little oatiness in there. Finding almost like a cherry cola. Smells really good. A little bit of burn on the nose. A little minty in there too. These last two had a little bit of a mint going on. Let's get into the palate. Palate is the lightest out of the 3. It's very light. Finish is short. Flavors, though, I'm getting a little bit of orange, a little bit of lemon peel. That mint comes through. A little slight tobacco with a little bit of earthiness going on there, too. Very interesting. That one doesn't have a lot going on for it, though. It's thin compared to the other 2. Let me go cleanse my palate, and I'm going to work through these one more time. All right, guys, palate is cleansed. Let's start on our right here. Quick nose, quick palate. Let's see if anything's changed. Okay, a little bit more brown sugar with that maple coming through. A lot more sweetness. It's opened it up a little bit. Finding a little bit more of like a darker fruit. That mint still there. A little bit of that tobacco. Let's get into the palate. Palate is still the same. Super thin almost. It goes down. No burn. Finish is short. Tobacco. A little bit of that earthiness. A little bit more confectioner sugar now that it's opened up a little bit, but still not my cup of tea. Let's move on to glass number 2. That's, after this opened up, this is a maple syrup bomb. Lots of pancake, lots of maple syrup, lots of sugar, lots of sweetness, vanilla, caramel, toffee. This is bourbon heaven in a glass right here, guys. Let's get into the palate. And now that it's opened up a little bit longer, that palate is fantastic. Finish is beautiful. I'm in the mid palate right now. I'm getting a lot of maple, a lot of sweetness. There's a little bit of an orange almost with a little bit of mint. The tobacco is very light with the oakiness. Wow, that is in the front runner right now. But we're gonna move on to glass number 3. See what it's all about. Okay. So glass number 1, that was now glass 3, definitely had time to open up. It's got a lot more confectioner sugar going on in there. There's a sweet oak that's going on. Finding a lot of cherry. Wow, that's really, really good smelling. Let's get into the palate. Wow, there's this beautiful fruit that opens up and it coats the palate. The finish is there. It's really, really good. But I don't know if it competes with glass number 2, because this guy is currently in 3rd place. It's no competition, that glass. But these two right here are a toss-up. Let's go with this guy here. The fruit, there's a lot of fruit that's in this glass compared to this glass that has a lot of sweetness, like maple syrup, confectioner sugar. And I always lean towards that sweeter side. So these two are exceptional, 10 out of 10s. But this guy right here is my winner. And this guy's 2nd place. This guy's 3rd place. So move that to 2nd. Move this into 1st. Let's find out what 3rd place is. 3rd place goes to, okay, 1792 Bottled in Bond. Let's see what came in 2nd place. Wow. 2nd place, E.H. Taylor Small Batch. That means our winner, moving on to the finals, Henry McKenna Bottled in Bond 10-year bourbon. Wowzo. I was not expecting that lineup with Henry McKenna coming in 1st place. But hey, that's why we do these blinds. I am still going to be an absolute lover of the E.H. Taylor Small Batch. You guys know how much I love this bottle. But in the blind, the McKenna came out on top. It was a little bit sweeter, had more of those predominant sweeter flavors that I prefer in my bourbons compared to those dark fruits that the E.H. Taylor has. But this Bottled in Bond 1792, the 2nd time I've had it, the 1st time it kind of impressed me, but after having it for the 2nd and 3rd time now, it's a little thin. Did it impress me compared to these other two? Not so much. But next week is the finals of the best Bottled in Bond bourbon and whiskey, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Until next time, this has been Nathan with the Everyday Drinker. Cheers.